Welcome to the AI Factory podcast. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the biggest questions shaping our world. When it comes to AI, will you adapt or will you be replaced?
Look, it's the question that's probably keeping a lot of us up at night. But today, we're going to skip the hypotheticals. We're going to get a real answer by looking at how one of the biggest companies on the planet is wrestling with this exact problem right now. This is the reality of job displacement in the age of AI, and you're going to want to hear this.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the massive corporate strategy in play. Then, we'll break down the tough new playbook for employees. After that, we'll face the human side of all this, and we'll finish up with what you can actually do to get ready for your own AI future.
All right, let's get into it. The company we're watching is the global tech and consulting behemoth, Accenture. And what's fascinating is that they aren't just reacting to AI. They're trying to rebuild their entire company around it. They're right in the middle of the storm.
To really wrap your head around the scale here, just look at these numbers. We're talking about a company with a workforce bigger than the population of Seattle, and they are placing a massive $3 billion bet on AI. That's not just a small pivot, my friends. That is a full-blown reinvention.
And what's truly staggering is the speed of this change. They're on pace to almost double their number of AI experts in just 2 years. At the same time, they're tripling their revenue from generative AI projects. This is what it looks like when a giant company hits the accelerator hard.
And they're not just tinkering around the edges. This is a deep, structural change. They literally tore down their old company divisions and rebuilt them into one single unit called Reinvention Services. The name says it all, right? The goal is to weave AI into the very DNA of everything they do.
So, the big question is, how do you get a company with over 700,000 people to change direction for a technology that's evolving by the minute? Well, their playbook is becoming painfully clear, and it has some huge implications for every single person who works there.
And they are not mincing words. The CEO, Julie Sweet, came right out and said it. Just read this quote. She talks about a compressed timeline, says reskilling is not a viable path for some, and then uses the word exiting. There's absolutely zero ambiguity there. The message is simple. Adapt fast, or you're out. Now, to be fair, their first move isn't just showing people the door. Plan A is training, and they are doing it on an unbelievable scale. That number, 550,000, that's how many of their employees have already been trained in the fundamentals of Gen AI. That's like trying to teach an entire country a new language, almost overnight. So what does it take to make the cut? Well, here's the new survival kit. And what's really interesting is it's not just about being a hardcore coder. Sure, the math and developer skills are there. But look at the other stuff. Business savvy, a knack for innovation, and an understanding of responsible AI. They're building a whole new kind of employee.
But, training hundreds of thousands of people is the ideal. What about the reality? What happens when upskilling on a super tight deadline just doesn't work out for everyone? Well, this is the other, much tougher side of the story.
Because while all that training is going on, the company is also getting smaller. In just 3 months, 11,000 jobs disappeared. This isn't a future prediction. This is the cold, hard math behind that upskill or exit strategy. This is the exit part in action.
And this is where we all need to learn how to translate corporate jargon. When you hear about a business optimization program that costs $865 million, you need to know that's mostly the budget for severance packages. And rapid talent rotation? That's just a polite way of saying we're replacing people who can't learn the new skills fast enough.
Of course, a strategy this aggressive has sparked a ton of debate online. You can go to places like Reddit and see people asking some tough questions. They're speculating, wondering if this push for new skills is also a convenient way to get rid of older, more expensive employees without breaking discrimination laws.
So, is it legal?
Well, generally speaking, yes. When a company restructures because of new technology like AI, it's often considered a termination without cause. As long as they provide proper notice or severance pay, they're usually in the clear legally. So this quickly becomes a question of corporate ethics, not just the letter of the law.
Okay, so we've seen the corporate playbook and we've seen the real-world consequences. So now we get to the only question that really matters. What does any of this mean for your career? How do you prepare for what's coming?
First things first, you gotta understand that this isn't just a tech industry thing. Not at all.
This transformation is hitting repetitive tasks in pretty much every field you can think of, from the factory floor to customer service centers to finance departments. AI is automating tasks across the board.
But here's the good news. This is where the opportunity lies. While AI is fantastic at tasks, it's absolutely terrible at being human. The skills that are becoming priceless are the ones that algorithms just can't replicate. Things like creativity, emotional intelligence, real strategic thinking, and leadership. This is your new competitive advantage. So the entire focus of work is shifting. It's becoming less about what tasks you can perform and more about how you can think, how you can create, how you can lead. The real value is in using these incredibly powerful new tools to solve problems we couldn't even touch before. And in the end, it really all boils down to this. The AI revolution isn't coming. It's already here. The only question left is, will you be an architect who helps build the future, or will you be a casualty of that change? The choice to learn, to adapt, and to double down on those human skills is what will decide your path.
Thanks for joining us on the AI Factory podcast. To keep making sense of this fast-changing world, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you're a leader trying to navigate all this chaos, check out the new book, the CXO Manual, Mastering Leadership in the Age of AI. It delivers the radical playbook your role demands, with over 200 actionable rules and superpowers for the C-suite to lead the future. We'll see you next time.